This is PopeBear, and before we start this podcast, I wanted to honor a person that I've been following his work with Rooster Teeth as long as I can remember. On February 1st, we lost Monty Ohm through complications of surgery. I'm going to read you something from the Rooster Teeth page that is a message to all of us. As for honoring Monty, we will do that in our own way. In lieu of flowers and gifts, we ask you to do something creative. Use your imagination to make the world a better place in any way that you can. If you know Monty like we do, then you know he would certainly be doing that if he were able to. Thank you very much, and we dedicate this podcast to Monty Ohm.
Presents the official DoD Podcast. The only place where dads can be 100% correct 100% of the time. Don't tell your mother.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to episode 23 of the official DoD Podcast. I'm your host, TwoLoudtx. Here with me today, my co-host and Guardian Slayer himself, Nolxero. What's going on, buddy?
Drop the heroes. Get with the zero, baby.
Boom! It's there. It's real. It's real. It's.
I live it, dude. It's me. It's what I am.
It has now surpassed the Space Turtle. I think you've done it more than Watts ever did Space Turtle.
And see, now I don't have to worry about him surpassing me back because he's not on Guardian Radio. So
right, so you're good to go.
So that's your
to go.
No,
what?
But he still has a loyal following over there on.
I listen every week. I love.
He's doing some great over there. Stuff.
It's awesome. The man that has beat the raid more than he can count, but still is under me when we play PvP. Just ask Dado, Mr. PopeBear. What's up, buddy?
Oh, I don't even know. I should read these things before you send them out because you just took me back a couple steps. I don't even know how you so this guy here, for you guys that don't understand, he's a freak with PvP. He had this sty in his eye, so he couldn't play for a week and a half. And usually you would you'd lose some PvP acumen, but he comes back, having not played for almost 2 weeks, and then just freaking kills it. I don't even understand it.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the nice compliment. Although I kind of gave you a cut down. Thank you for that.
I'm taking the high road.
That's what you do. You kill people with kindness.
That's right.
How you do
I'm taking a tip from Hambone here,
Boom.
And I wanna build up my hashtag Team PopeBear.
There it is.
And he's giving me some tips and tricks.
That's what it's for. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm trying to bring more people over to Team PopeBear.
Root for Pope.
Well, the man who swears they named the Black Hammer after him. Mr. Hambone, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, that is an actual fact. I believe they called me on the phone and they asked me a couple questions, and I can't really share the conversation, but Black Hammer was the end result, and now here it is in the game. So you're welcome.
That if you get 3 headshots in a row, you don't have to reload?
Yeah. That is actually one of my favorite tricks. So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
What do they call that perk?
They call that the D's nuts.
I'm pretty sure they call that the white nail perk, yeah? Which is pretty
appropriate. Wait, can I actually say D's nuts?
No, please don't.
You've already said it twice.
Yeah, he's already got to edit that out, Brian.
All right, so I'll actually call it the white nail.
Well, today's special guest is someone that is a close friend of ours. He's been with me and Pope through the early stages of the DoD life, the Dads of Destiny life, and joined us in our early podcasting days as well. The manager of the Dads of Destiny forums, also known as the forum guru, developer of the database, DeepFriedDave. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? How many times do I have to be a guest to get an exotic named after me? Is all I want.
It's a long road, man. It's long road.
Brian's been barking up that tree for a long time, and all he could get is a legendary, so I don't know.
But it's a special legendary.
Well, yeah, but it's still perfect.
Well, Well, Dave, obviously you are very busy over at DadsOfDestiny.net and working on things day in and day out over there. I know you have some teams over there as well that help you out. So tell us a little bit about, what's going over at DadsOfDestiny.net, what kind of content you guys have going on over there, as well as the DoD podcast stuff, and how you guys are doing.
Well, just approached 27,000 members on Bungie. So through Bungie and the podcast, things keep rolling up. So at the webpage, we're starting to now get more contributors from the community, which is awesome. And if you have ideas, bring them in. You'll find some contact forms on the website. But have people coming in now. We have a bi-monthly Destiny fan fiction series that we're going to be premiering on the website. And then also along with that, a recurring comic. Just done by dads in the community that want to contribute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And it's not surprising about how many people in the community want to give back because they're so appreciative of what we are providing them and the home that they've found with Dads of Destiny. So it's refreshing and it's rewarding, and it's what drives us to get through everything. But
you guys got a Twitch account as well, right? That you're streaming some stuff on.
Yeah, and the goal there is to try and get a 24-hour stream, just because we have so many dads all across the globe that want to stream and want to contribute to the community, and do things like bringing in new guys to do their nightfall, just helping stay connected with the community on what they want to see us doing together with them. And work.
Dave, you don't need people across the globe. You just need two fools like David and I. Just playing 12 hours a day. So we do 24-hour live streams, and we don't need more than just two people. So, maybe you're setting. Yeah, I'm just kidding with you.
Well, that's cool though. That's obviously, that's a big thing of Dads of Destiny, right? Is all along the way. It's groups of guys that are hardcore gamers and groups of guys that want to be more casual gamers, or guys that can only play a few hours a week or a day. And I know we run into them, every once in a while, where guys, have had a thorn bounty since the beginning of the game and couldn't do it, and they want a team to jump in and do it. Or the other day, I played with a guy named Hugatti, and he had never played the Vault of Glass. Mm-hmm. And, it astounded me because I've played it so many times, but it was so fun just to play it on normal and run him through it because he had never got that experience before. Yeah. And so, obviously I know you guys are big proponents in doing a lot of stuff like that. So definitely, if you're interested in doing something like that, reach out right on the forums. Reach out to the Twitch team over there.
Yes.
And that is twitch.tv/dadsofdestiny. Correct.
Correct. Yep.
And definitely join over there. Give them a view. Go check them out, guys. Subscribe to them as well.
Well, actually, being a forum administrator, I have to say some things about that. But Bungie's always been a great tool for us to get together and communicate over the forum. And as we've getting bigger and bigger, and you got 27,000 people in there, it just kind of gets convoluted in the messages. So we have been working on a forum, as you guys keep mentioning, on the website, and it's progressively getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And just want to let everyone know that's kind of hesitant to leave the Bungie atmosphere. If you go to the website and get on the new forums, there are sections for just man cave talk, just dad chatter. If you want to look for some groups to play with or recruit for clans, there's other sections for PlayStation and other sections for Xbox. So it's really kind of thinning out the things that you do want to see and don't want to see. And the biggest thing, we've just integrated with the Tappa Talk app. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's an app dedicated just to forums. Cool. So we've submitted an application and kind of conformed to what they need. So now we have a full app that
awesome.
You can get replies on. You get notifications on your private messages, your replies, everything. So it's going to be a lot more user-friendly and give that Bungie app experience. So really excited about that, and we really want to start getting that going. So we're also going to offer other games on those forums. Right. So I know that,
keep all the dads together and keep moving along no matter what game you're playing. So
and if from the podcast, there's guys. They're all of a sudden I seen a Hearthstone thread like one day after your podcast.
That's right.
Drop the heroes
stuff. No,
there we go.
So So even things like that. So it's a lot of
awesome
fun to see them still working together. So.
Well, definitely, thank you, to you and your admin team for everything you guys are doing. I know from us here at the DoD Podcast, on behalf of all four of us, we truly love the partnership that we have with you and your admin team, and we look forward to continuing to create, great content for the community, see the great content that you guys are creating, and work together to keep giving dads some fun stuff that they want to see. So definitely, guys, make sure you're jumping over to DadsOfDestiny.net and seeing what's going on in the Dads of Destiny community. And Pope, speak about things that are going on in the Dads of Destiny community. You've been working with the man Deej at Bungie to go over some things that are coming up, and also known maybe as Dad's Week going on next week, or as people are listening to it this week. And why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Dad's Week?
That's it's something that was really came really excited about. We're when you guys are hearing or listening to this podcast, we're going to start rolling out a blitz of information for everybody. We have two events that are kind of the cornerstone of this Dad's Week, but with other events happening through the website, and we'd be promoting out through social media. So the two main events I'm going to be talking about right now are on Wednesday. We are going to be doing a raid with Deej, one of the developers or one of the designers of Crota, and Urk. So it's actually going to be a lot of fun. I think what the goal is really is to get community involvement. So what we're going to try to do is get the message out there, get as many people on the Twitch stream. So this is going to be streaming through twitch.tv/the DoD Podcast. And we're going to get as many people as we can in there to ask them questions about the raid. Everything you've ever wanted to know, you can ask. And we'll have Troy and or TwoLoud and David, and in the party bringing in questions and asking Deej while Brian and I play. So
we're going to have guests from all over the community, right? And
absolutely.
We're going to have people like Dado,
right,
and Mark from Guardian Radio.
So
and all those guys.
That's actually happening the next day. Or the Friday. So the raid is really going to be about the community asking questions about Crota and watching us play the game and asking questions about Crota. And Friday we're going to be doing what you guys may have seen Deej talk about with more console, which is called the Ride Along, and this time the ride along is going to be on the Cosmodrome, and we're going to be playing with the lead or world lead of the Cosmodrome, Rob Adams, and Deej, and we're going to be touring the Cosmodrome, and I can tell you that he has got some amazing stories to tell about the Cosmodrome that are just going to blow your mind. So once again, we're going to have DoD Podcast guys in the chat, moderating the chat. And and on that day, like Troy was saying, we're going to bring in special guests that are going to ask questions from their community. So we'll have Dado, we'll have guys from Destiny Tracker and Cosmo, TTL Cosmo, and Tinks is going to be in there from from Resolute Gaming. And so we're really excited to bring in some of our partners, and the DoD admin are going to jump in, and it's going to be a really great event. So both of those events are at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, and they're going to be on at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv, the DoD Podcast. And so Wednesday is going to be a raid, and Friday is going to be a ride along, and expect both events to be filled with lots of your questions and community leaders jumping in and talking to Deej, and hopefully we have a great time. But it's going to be kicking off on Monday, and it's going to be called Dad's Week, and it's Bungie's way of thanking all those hard-working guys out there who, I think the way Deej put it, it said that Dad's Week is kind of like Shark Week without as many teeth. With less teeth and more responsibilities.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about it.
Well, thanks so much, Pope, for working on that, man, and the awesome relationships that you've been able to get going over there at Bungie. We really appreciate that, and it's going to be a great week for everybody and for all the dads out there that are part of Dads of Destiny, and maybe even those that aren't yet part of Dads of Destiny and are dads and other communities that are going to come join and watch and be a part. So,
Absolutely.
Thanks for so much. And speak of other dads in the community that might be joining as well, and are going to be joining us next week on the show. And a friend of ours and a big fan of his is Hambone, but Ponestar or Ponestar for Hire is actually going to be on the show next week. And if you guys have seen his stuff on YouTube or follow him, he is a huge PvP guy, and Pope got to play a little bit with him.
He's a freak.
And Pope was just taken back by skill and how good he actually was.
Well, he's just a natural, and you don't run across very many of those that, they can't help but, know, like viscerally feel the map and where to go and be in the right places.
Yeah.
And I was watching him for, I don't know, not to act all stalker, but I was like,
you're a stalker.
After the first game, he outscored me by like, something like 15, 20 kills, and I thought I was doing good. And
right.
And so the next game, I'm like, holy crap, okay, I got to figure out what's going on. So I just hung back and just watched what he was doing, and he was running as a Titan and just absolutely cutting off complete spawn points and spawn trapping him solo. He was spawn trapping the entire team solo. And I was just loving watching it, and just watching all these hunters die at this Titan's feet was just beautiful.
Oh, here we go. Well, Hambo, why don't you go ahead and share with us? Obviously, Ponestar's coming on next week, but what other great guests do we have lined up here for the next couple months?
Well, we have a lot of people coming up, but most what is the word I'm looking for?
Notably.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Most notably, would have to be Sparrow League coming on here in the next couple of weeks. They started the first Sparrow Racing League in Destiny, so we're really looking forward to having those guys come on.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be fun. We have Tinks coming on, who's a big member in Resolute, and in the PS4 community, she runs the Facebook Destiny page. So
yeah, the community Facebook.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. And there are some other names that we're not going to release yet, but just know we have a lot of good guys coming on and good people in general. So
Absolutely.
Stay tuned.
Well, as always, guys, make sure you jump over to dadsofdestiny.net. We'll keep updating over there too the guests that are going to be coming on. I know every week that Dave and his team, list the link there for the podcast as well, and some of the announcements that are made. So if you can't listen to the whole podcast, you can at least catch the highlights and announcements over at dadsofdestiny.net. And also, you can always drop by the DoDPodcast.com and become an official listener as well. And thanks to everybody that has become an official listener. We truly appreciate it. Well, with all that finally out of the way, probably the longest intro we've had to the show ever.
Right.
Let's gather our beverages of choice, which Hambone has already been doing, I can tell.
Woohoo!
And let's get started with episode 23.
Bottles up, Guardians. Please drink responsibly. Silly kids, drinking is for adults only. Don't drink and ride your Sparrow. Drinking has been known to increase your aim. Individual crucible results may vary. If you have a buzz lasting longer than 4 hours, contact the speaker immediately. No lawyers were harmed in the making of this disclaimer.
All right, so Dave, as you know, we have a tradition over here where we open up the show and then we start talking a little bit about what we're enjoying while we're recording. So what beverage of choice do you have over there tonight?
I have a Goose Island 312 Urban Wheat Ale.
Now this man was prepared. Man.
Wow. This is a SOP at the house.
Wow.
The 312. This is Goose Island. Well, it's recently they started brewing it in Chicago, hence the area code 312. So it's not a 312. Right. So don't order a 312. It's a 312. Right. So it's the area code for the Chicago area that it was brewed in originally. So since then they've moved the brewery, but I don't like beers that you have to have a fork and a knife to eat. Like you got to cut them up. So this is kind of an in-between a lager. And it's pretty refreshing too. So it's good beer.
Well, what about you, Pope? Is it tea time yet? Are you enjoying the tea? Are you, over there sipping with your pinky in the air? What's going on this week?
I'm going to refrain from your prodding and respond with kindness. Thank you, Brian. So
Team PopeBear.
There you go.
I am Team Poper. I am I'm drinking a chamomile and lemon tea this evening.
Oh, that sounds very refreshing.
Okay. Nice.
It is.
Nice.
It is delicious, and hopefully later this evening, I won't have stomach pains. So
do you have a scone or a biscotti over there with you?
Yes, I'm gonna act like that was a serious question.
Oh, it was.
No, I do not have a scone or biscotti. Team Poper.
Team PopeBear all the way.
Well, what about you, Nolxero? What would you grab out of your fridge tonight?
Oh, I'm being boring, man. I'm drinking water.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
You couldn't even pull out some chamomile and lemon tea for the
I've been
At least
busy.
I'm
I worked
drinking
all night
flavored
last
water.
night at my regular job. I came home. I had a lot of projects to do, and I haven't been to sleep yet. I'm going past 24 hours at this point. I was just like, dude, I can't. If I drink a beer on the podcast tonight, I'm going to pass out while we're doing the podcast.
Right.
Well, I got to give him props. He has been working obviously with Pope today on some graphics for Bungie and getting them some of our our logos and things like that. So definitely appreciate it. Good job on that, Nolxero.
Thank you, sir.
And I guess we'll let you slide with the water this one time because I'm sure the man that is on point and probably grabbed something from Bevmo again has been enjoying enough for you. This evening. So, Hambone, what's on point? What is it?
Oh man, I went back to one of my favorites. It was kind of an off week for me, but I have released the Kraken, and I have the Kraken rum with some Coke. So I'm drinking a rum and Coke, but it's a supersized rum and Coke. Like this baby, this is if you went to the bar, you would probably pay. You would probably.
Dude,
I was half expecting him to pull out one of those 64-ounce mugs.
That is a 64-ounce mug.
That's a big boy's cup. I'm drinking for 3 tonight. So it's going down.
Brian, dude, please don't.
Oh, wow.
Please don't.
Wow.
No, it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night.
He's already been enjoying it. As you can say, he just did hashtag Team PopeBear. So.
He is getting people on my side right now. Thank you, sir.
Oh man,
What's
that
going
is
on,
too
guys?
funny.
Yeah, it's going to be a loose one tonight.
Well, I ran to the store and I was grabbing, like I've always said, I grab like a 6-pack of random beers, right, all the time. Some of what are suggested to us through Twitter or through the website or email, and some of just what I want to grab. And this time they had like a ton of different Blue Moons up there, and you know how I like Blue Moon. I've always been a fan of it, but I actually grabbed something that I'm probably going to get made fun of for drinking. But it is the first peach ale by Blue Moon, and it has it's coriander and a little bit of peach in it. It's a crafted inspired beer from. It's more like a brown ale a little bit. And they have on the bottle, they say it's 1 foot in winter and the other foot in spring. So it's really freaking good.
So basically, you're drinking another tea. You and Pope are both drinking tea. Is what you're saying? Coriander.
I was gonna ask, actually, does this get you around the whole "don't fruit the beer" thing? Because you didn't do nothing to the beer,
right?
Dude,
it was already fruited.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
My wife.
You're essentially just drinking.
Dude, it's your wife. Well, let me tell you, it is really good. So your wife has a good taste.
Wow.
So
We just told you were drinking a chick drink.
that's you know what? It wouldn't be the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. Right?
I love the honesty. I love it.
Let's not kid ourselves here. So, I got made fun of for putting an orange in my regular Blue Moon.
It
what
needs
episode
an
4? So
it needs an orange.
yeah, absolutely. So G Master, you can just do whatever you want to do. I'm going to put it in the beer. So.
Right.
Well, this week we got a long-awaited answer to everyone's question from Deej. One that I think everybody has been asking, and there's been posts about it, and Reddit is going crazy about it. And it's when will we get the House of Wolves? When is it coming out? Right, which is the next expansion. And he didn't tell us exactly when, but he did give us a time frame in the weekly update. Deej let us know that Bungie is preparing to release it in Q2. So obviously, he said for those of you that don't know who Q2 is, Pope, didn't he say rip your calendar in 4s and then take the months April, May, and June, and it's going to be somewhere in between there. So obviously everybody is thinking, hey, this isn't going to come out till June, right? They're going to wait till the last second to drop it. They're just giving their time frame.
Right. I'm really looking forward to some. I would really love to. My desktop on my computer would love to have some House of Wolves art, and I think it would be great to get some of that stuff. Get excited about it. See what the bosses maybe like some sort of hint as to what the bosses look like. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, we don't know much about the House of Wolves right now.
Now, what about you, Pope? I mean, Hambone, how do you feel about the time between the expansions?
I feel like they are playing with fire potentially because there are already a lot of people who have maxed out their experience with the latest DLC. So a lot of people are now moving to different games. I know a lot of guys have been playing Dying Light. The Hardline beta's out this week. So I just worry that some people might leave and not come back if it's later in the quarter rather than earlier. So we'll have to wait and see. And I don't think they can just patch us over with a couple more Iron Banner events or even by bringing the Queen back. I think we need new content sooner rather than later. So,
well, Dave, you're a little more casual player, I would say, than us four. At least Pope and Hambone. I've died down a little bit. David's always been preoccupied doing other stuff, as far as doing a lot of graphic stuff and things like that for us. But I would say you're a little more casual player with some of the other dads. How do you feel about the time in between the expansion?
Well, the thing is like I just feel like there's a lot of low hanging fruit for small tweaks that they could do in an update that would kind of help people get to that big update. I get the expansion pack. Okay, a lot of things, weapons and maps and story and another raid and strikes, but give me some different bounties, put some different little missions on the PvE side. So I'm not, okay, I know what those 4 are. I don't want to do those 2 right now.
Right.
There's so many options that you could easily drop in there and take care of those small things just to keep you interested and keep you fresh, that I don't think you need to wait for a whole expansion to do. And I think that stuff gets overlooked pretty easy, and I'm not quite sure why.
Dave, tell me, have you played through all the content?
What's all? I haven't done the Crota raid at all. Is that considered all?
That is
Yeah.
considered all.
Yeah.
All of the expansion. Have you done all aspects of the content?
No.
So besides the raid, have you done everything else at this point? Have you played basically through the the levels with Eris, the storyline with Eris?
Yes. Still grind through to get to level 4 because that seems like something that is impossible for anyone.
Well, it is close to impossible for those. I mean, 3 to 4 is like forever long. I mean, it is forever long.
It's almost twice as much experience. Like I think it's 1,000 experience per rank, right?
Yeah, I don't want to tell you how long it took Brian and I.
Right. It wasn't
like a Friday night, right?
Yeah. Because here's the thing. And while we're mentioning that, like in case there are some people who have yet to get Herd 4, if you don't know, there's a double dip, which you can do. And if you're logged into your character before 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is when the content refreshes.
Brian, is this a cheese?
I don't know if this is a cheese so much as something that
I think it's advice.
Yeah,
I think it's
advice.
Right. Yeah.
This is advice to quicken
good
up.
solid advice.
Yeah, good solid advice to get your Eris to 4. So if you're on before 1 a.m., you log in.
You've already done the bounties.
Yeah,
you've already done them for that
day. At 1 a.m., they refresh. So you go into the tower, you pick them up, you do them, you turn them in, and you go to change character, and you come back in on the same character. When you go back to the tower, they'll be there again. So a lot of people that got theirs up to 4 really quickly use that technique.
Pope and Hambone?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a cheese. I'd call that an exploit for sure. I don't think that's intended for like how they, but it's within the confines of the game. I don't think it's a cheese.
Well, I think they also do know. I've seen them post on Reddit. They know that it's there.
I'm sure they know it's there.
They're just not worrying about it. They're like, if you're that hardcore that you're going to stay up, till
here's some reward.
1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There you go.
Sure, it was funny. I was playing with some of the Bungie designers, and with a couple of the guys who had designed the tower, and we were walking around and talking about the stuff, and he's pointing out all the the bugs that shipped with the game, and I'm like, I'm sorry, man, I don't even see it. And he's like, oh, good, So we're walking around and we're looking at the tower, and then I swear, like I was teaching them how to do all this stuff, like how to farm stuff and how to do the air.
Well, I was there when you first mentioned that to them the first time as well, and they're like, oh, really? That's cool. So.
Yeah, like yeah.
I was going to say to Dave's point about the low-hanging fruit, the one thing I'd love to see them do is give me a reason to do multiple story missions. Like, not because it's the daily, but just like, for instance, Diablo 3, they have a way where you go into an act, and you can do, like, there'll be, like, bounties on 5 of the missions in the act. And you go in there, and when you do it, all 5 of them, you'll get like a reward, like a bag, and it's a bag of loot, and it could be crap and it could be great, but it's a bag of loot and it's something. And I would like that. I would like a reason to go back and explore, 50 to 60% of the content on the disc.
Yeah,
well, just think if they did that for each planet.
Yeah.
If they just said, hey, go play through Earth one more time, with your character. And once you complete them all, you get it. You grab it back.
The thing is with the bounties, they just say with heroic active, right?
Yeah.
Well,
level 9.
I mean, I'm a level 32, so heroic is a level 9, right? I don't even stop running. I just run through the level, get to the guy I need to kill, and I kill him. So it would be great if, like what Nolxero is talking about, is that if you had to replay a planet, but like on a harder setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if they even did, they incorporate your situation, Pope? If they said, hey, if you can get through a strike in 15 minutes, then you get a bag of loot.
Yeah, I'd like to see just like even tiered, like, so they could do this on the Earth where it's like, hey, there's 5 missions today. If you go do them, you're going to get a bag of loot. The harder the difficulty you do them on, the better chances you have of better loot dropping out of this bag.
Yeah. Sure.
And same with what TwoLoudtx said with the strikes. It's like, hey, if you can do the strike in the gold tier time, which is a 10-minute run, then you get a great chance at getting something nice. And then, there's a silver tier and a bronze tier. And then there's you should have even tried tier.
Right.
Even to patrols. Do the same thing with patrols. Why do I have a level 2 patrol every time I go to Earth? I'm a level 31. Put something in there to make it at least more challenging, and the rewards and bounties to match up.
And honestly, I'd love to see a mythic quest. Right?
Oh, there you go.
You remember all the mythic shells, the mythic skulls from Halo?
Yeah.
When you activated them all, you had no heads-up display, no reticle. You had no health regeneration. You had to melee someone to get your shields back. I mean, it was crazy, crazy hard. And for those hardcore people out there that wanted, to play the most insanely difficult possible, there was always the mythic or all skulls on quest. So
right,
that's the PvP low hanging fruit of all the different game modes and types. That would be easy, right? So
there's definitely some low hanging fruit there.
Well, I mean, even in the point of and I wonder if they're going to add any trophies or achievements to this next expansion, right? Because we didn't get any in Crota.
No.
Oh, really?
We didn't get any, and so it'd be really interesting to see if we get some of those. I mean, because I know we all look at it. I'm only missing one. I'm missing the raid where no one dies.
Flawless Raider.
We're all missing that, aren't we? I think that's the only one.
Yeah, just because we haven't tried. We haven't really tried.
But we're missing that one. But it would be really cool to for them to release some more of those, and really, like you said, grab some of that low hanging fruit. Just simple things of play through the whole campaign on the hardest difficulties. So every one that you grab the hardest difficulty you can and play through it. It gives you another chance. I mean, for those people that don't have multiple characters. I think you start. There's obviously a lot of complaints, and I don't disagree. There is definitely some lack in story in this game, but you do grab some more when you play through it. It's like watching a movie again. Mm-hmm. If you see a movie for the second time, you see things that you didn't catch the first time around.
Absolutely.
And I've played through this story 3 times, once with each of my characters. You guys have, Pope and Hambone, they've played through it more because they've deleted characters or played for other people's characters. But you really grasp a different story, and it is fun and enjoyable to play through it with another guy or a couple other guys. I mean, it is really really enjoyable. Just that experience of even because what's going on, you're just more talking and enjoying the time and playing. To me, I found that a lot of fun.
I think the easiest answer to all of this is if they, in this big gap of time before the expansion, if they literally focused on dropping custom, boom, let the
custom games,
let the community, 12 million people, let them create stuff.
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
Yeah. Heck yeah, I'd stick around for that.
Done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would be on I'm on every day.
Right. I was just gonna say,
what would keep you?
No, like literally, the Halo Forge world community was amazing. Like, just
I'm
give
a
us
huge
some-
Forge fan. I build maps and I build game modes, and I loved Forge. And I wish there was something like that in Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, obviously, that's something they
Did any
can
of you
get
guys
to.
ever play Grand Theft Auto the 5 online? I've never heard you guys talk about it or not.
Yeah,
But
I have.
so that thing is still kicking.
Oh yeah.
For a year, and they're still putting out content, and they released that ability to make your own content 2 months into the game, and all they keep doing is everyone's making their own content, and that's their updates. At first people were like, oh, this kind of no point, but at the end of it, it's a lot of fresh things coming out, and something small like that, you're right, we'd just do the same thing. So
Well, when you take it out of 500 people's hands at a studio and you put it in 12 million people's hands, you start to get some results.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they sit. I mean, they're sitting right next to it all day, every day, and sometimes it takes that outsider's opinion or their eyes to see something that maybe they're not seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Griffball, for instance, one of the greatest custom games to come out.
Rocket Race.
Rocket Race.
Done.
Yeah, I mean, it
Done.
became
I
it
could
was
play
on
that
a
for
playlist.
hours and hours, or zombie mode.
Yep.
I mean, I could play that for days.
I mean, the best story here about user created content is MOBAs. I mean,
Yeah.
MOBAs came from StarCraft and Warcraft, and look at them now. I mean, that's just giving the community the ability.
Well, the largest
to build
game in the
something.
world is a MOBA now.
Right,
So,
and that's
League
just
of Legends.
giving the community the ability to build.
Yep. Well, another announcement that he gave us, I guess, and I really think this is the biggest thing. Obviously, we didn't get a date with the House of Wolves, but we did get some, particular information given to update 1.1.1, which is focusing on changing weapons, basically. And one of the driving forces behind the weapon changes is to bring the pulse rifle, which we all know no one uses, and some of these statistics we're about to
2%.
share, are just insane. But to bring the pulse rifle in line with the other primaries, such as auto rifle, shotgun, auto rifles, scout rifles, and hand cannons. And John Winskowski, I'm sure I did not say that correctly. Winooski, whatever his last name is, who is the sandbox designer at Bungie, released some detailed information about this, what they call the Destiny weapon tuning. And so
He's literally my hero. Honestly, like the amount of time he put into those patch notes, I mean, that must have taken it really shows me how much time and energy they put into analyzing and making sure their tweaks were fair and just. And it's really disheartening for me to read the comments on something. I really hope that in this case, I really hope that they did.
it's the internet.
I know. But honestly, I'm looking at something like this and I'm going, yes, this is what they're doing. They're showing us exactly what their thought process was on some very logical, honest tweaks to the game. And people are just being,
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I will say,
Bungie showed you what
we-
they can do best, and the internet showed you what it can do best.
Right. But these
So,
are good changes, man. And like
No,
Hope
these
said,
are good.
It's
changes.
active. Yeah, they're
It
active.
kind of does go with the low-hanging fruit situation, although it's not one we would think of primarily. But, because they're changing pulse rifles so much, I know for you, Pope, you play every day. You're going to start leveling up some pulse rifles
I'm mad that I deleted them all.
Mine are sitting in my vault. Yeah, my
Literally,
red
I've
dot.
got one vault. I mean, I have 0 vault space. So I
Mhm.
got so
Right.
sick of transferring these they looked amazing pulse rifles, right? And they were just
Red
trash.
Death.
They were
and
just
you have,
trash. So I deleted them all, right? And I kept
Yeah.
Red Death, Bad Juju, and the raid.
What's the raid one?
The raid one.
Oversoul Edict.
Yeah, Oversoul Edict. I kept 3 of the pulse rifles.
Did you keep the one from VOG?
Oh no, it never made it out of the load screen.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
I never.
Yeah, I mean,
I never even bothered leveling it.
So he said that they're going to make this update, and there's a lot of content we're about to cover, but they're gonna make this happen in February.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be. We don't know if it's next week or towards the end, right?
Right, but whenever it is, it's welcomed.
Yes,
it is, and I think it's going to be really cool to see the combat kind of change, especially in the PvP areas as well, right? Because we're so used to seeing Suros and Thorn
and Hawkmoons,
and Hawkmoon and fusion rifles, which is a
gosh.
huge change that's coming as well.
I'm excited
For those four things to kind of maybe take a back seat for a while and see some pulse rifles being used, and there's some great things about some of these pulse rifles. I mean, Red Death gives you health, right? I mean, and
bad juju on paper should be an awesome weapon.
Yeah,
and it's just not. Even with the update, it's better, but it's still just not awesome.
Right.
It's the Black Hammer of pulse rifles, right? You should. This should be Hambone's gun.
Right.
Right. With consecutive headshots, you don't have to. No, it's consecutive kills, right?
Yeah, consecutive kills. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then you put the headshot multiplier on the hunter, and then it's deadly.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what they need. More damage, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Please don't get him started, Dave.
Yeah. Well, Nolxero, why don't you go ahead and start us off here? The first thing that they talk about is the auto rifle changes. So why don't you tell us a little bit about these statistics here real quick and some of the changes they're making to auto rifles.
Absolutely. So their goal with auto rifles was for close to mid-range to be like a close to mid-range chainsaw. They said it should reward target tracking and drop in effectiveness at longer ranges. And anybody that's played with the Suros knows that that's just not been the case. And so they went in to tell us, kind of some of the numbers. And PvP control, I mean, the auto rifle completely dominates these numbers, sitting at 19%. I'm assuming everybody else was using fusion rifles. But even in story mode, you go and it's auto rifles and scout rifles. And then hand cannons, of course, because hand cannons are awesome.
Yes, they
but
are.
Then if you look down on the update, they have a breakdown of the top, let's see, I think it's 10 weapons by date and by numbers. And Suros, especially during Iron Banner times, is just top of the list. It's not even being rivaled except by Vex Mytho class. And then in a very, very far away third is the Thorn. So
even Vex Mytho class is like 10% difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially during Iron Banner. I mean, Iron Banner, the Suros is basically, this states if you were playing Iron Banner and you weren't using your Suros, then I don't know why you were playing Iron Banner with anything else.
Basically, yeah.
Damage.
But the funny thing about this is I thought it's funny that the Sinjin E made this list and the Galahad E made this list.
Yeah.
Because I said in beta, before we knew anything, we were just, idiots about the whole game. I was like, is the Sinjin E going to be overpowered in the end game? And to an extent, kind of, it was, because here it is. It's, a level 12 gun, and it's, in the top 10 list of guns, but
it's
great
a
fire rate. Yeah, it's a great fire rate. It has great stability, a little low in impact, but, it should be for an auto rifle. But so, yeah, they're looking to kind of just scale that back. So the goals are the auto rifle is optimal at close to medium range. Damage, stability, and range are tuned such that players desire stability for reliable close quarters damage or range for better accuracy at distance. Changes. Reduce damage of auto rifles by 2.5%.
Wow.
I don't even know what that number means, but it sounds like a significant, nerf. Reduce effective range values so that the damage fall off and accuracy are a stronger factor in combat decisions, and range reduction is less severe in the higher stat values. So now your range stat is more critical to long distance engagements.
So obviously what they're going to try to do is shorten that, right? They're going to try to say, use them at short to medium range,
Right.
and actually make an auto rifle. Like, the best way to think about it, I think, for me, is like the assault rifle in Halo, right? Make it more that distance.
Right.
So
Halo years, you couldn't kill nothing at distance with your automatic weapons.
Right.
You know?
Well, it seems like they're just doing more variety, because it does say that unless the range, it makes the range stat more critical. So some of those auto rifles that are actually designed for slower rates of fire and further distances will actually be the standouts, as opposed to every gun just being able to range.
Right.
So how do they nerf Suros still?
That's what I was going to say. Is I'm interested to see how the Suros reacts to this, because right now it completely, like we just said with the numbers, demolishes everything from short to medium to long range because of its slower rate of fire, the increase in the damage, and they already nerfed the Suros, if we remember. And obviously that wasn't enough. But the Suros is just inherently good because it has great stability, has great range, and because of the slower fire and the increased damage, you just get the best of every single possible world you could possibly want. It's everything in one gun.
I think that the way that I answer that is that the Suros is effective, right? In current form, it is extremely effective. It hip fire, it's high rate of fire, all this stuff.
Right.
But 2.5% damage reduction, and it drops off significantly at range. Those Suros players are going to stop equipping fusion rifles and shotguns, and they're going to start equipping sniper rifles. So what you're going to see is those level of players that can hit a shot at that range realize that they're going to start getting their faces sniped off. Because
what I hope doesn't happen is the opposite, though. I hope blink and shotgun don't become, or blink and fusion rifle don't become the norm. Because I think we all think that has a problem, right? Is if blink and shotgun becomes the norm, because
because you want to talk about cheese, that feels pretty cheesy.
But the big thing here, the big change, and we'll see how this affects the auto rifle situation as well, is the pulse rifle change, which is the big one, right? It's the driving factor. I said,
yes, I want a BR type gun.
It's the driving factor behind this. So, Pope, your knowledge with the game, and you are the man that plays every night, nonstop. And as we said before, you don't even look at pulse rifles; you laugh at them, much like the challenge with Hambone.
I honestly,
no, you didn't.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So can you please tell us about the changes that are coming to the pulse rifle?
I did well.
Here, Brian did extremely well. I was very proud of him. I think that the time that he spent watching my stream, or the time that I spent watching his stream, I really got to see him as a quality.
Wow.
I got plenty of time. I got about 45 minutes to watch him play.
Compliment. That's unreal.
Yeah. So, okay. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's a little challenge that Brian and Hambone and I had. We put it up. We're going to put it up on our YouTube channel. It was just who could level up a character to 20 faster, and Team PopeBear won.
Yeah,
So here we go. Pulse rifles. Now, I was a huge BR fan in Halo and was really disappointed to not see the pulse rifle be effective. So what is the pulse rifle? Is a spiritual middle ground between a full auto and a semi-auto weapon, delivering lethal bursts at force pace. The right combat rhythm rewards both tracking and precision shooting. So for someone like myself, I like to, I can track, and I think I was looking at Destiny Tracker, and 70% of my kills end with a headshot. So for me, this is the type of gun I really want, and that's was frustrating for me about not being able, just being forced to use scout rifles, because battle rifles are really the rhythm that you need in PvP at mid-range. And so with the changes that they're making, their goal was to make it an optimal middle range gun, and so that you could put suppressing fire on groups, just hammering down, just brah, 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 aiming down range, getting shots off, taking shields off, and allowing your teams getting lots of assists. So The main changes they're gonna make are, and this is a staggering amount. I have never seen this much of an increase.
Huge.
So 9.7% increase to the pulse rifle.
Basically 10%.
Basically, yeah.
It is. The damage per second is now more in line with other primaries. So they really focused on the time to kill. And this is really when you start looking at PvP and PvE, because I was reading in the chats all these people that saying Bungie isn't paying attention. They're for 2% of the players that are playing Crucible, they're changing all of our guns. That's just ridiculous. All of these guns are straight up about the time to kill, whether you're killing a Vandal or you're killing a Hunter, of both the same class in my book.
Or a Titan. Nonsense.
It's just ridiculous. Let's just talk about Hunters and Vandals. So if you're killing those, you got this. You the time to kill with a good primary, the top of its class, and each of the categories should be the same for that range weapon. And so I'm really excited to see more variety in the game. I'm going to start hitting the VOC, the rock channels, and the rock strikes, and seeing if I can get some legendary drops happening for these pulse rifles, see if I can get a good one going. But yeah, I'm really disappointed that I deleted some of these pulse rifles that were around. But this looks like a change that will be bring some new dynamics in the mid-range of PvP matches and really make them much more interesting and team-based.
But what was crazy to me was that the initial damage was 9.7% lower than any other primary. Why?
Oh yeah. Well, which made it a great troll weapon. So if you actually got a kill with it, you're like, I kill you.
Right. But how did that make it out? Like, what was the reasoning? I'm wondering behind that.
It's a 3-round burst.
Right.
So that's a little harder to calculate than an auto rifle because that's still one shot at a time. A scout rifle is still one shot at a time. Hand cannon is still one shot at a time. This is the unique weapon in your primary slot. It has a 3-round burst. It's a bursty weapon. It's going to lay down damage in a pattern and in an amount that you're not ready for. And it's a little different to see than what you're used to. It's harder to read what you're going to get out. When you're getting hit by it, it's harder to understand, like, why am I dropping so fast? And so I think that they probably erred on the side of safety and caution. So it wasn't like, oh, these pulse rifles are insane and nobody uses anything else.
Right.
But I'll tell you, this got me so excited, man, because often when I play, I liked auto rifles, I like scout rifles, I like all the guns just fine, but I never felt like any of them were really my style. Like I really fell in love with hand cannons, especially when I got my Hawk Moon, and I was like, dude, this is my gun. But I've had bad juju. I've had bad juju for like ever, and I just want that gun to be awesome.
Yeah,
I believe in bad juju. I'm on that ticket to run with them, and I just want the bad juju.
Bad juju awesome. Train. Hashtag bad juju train.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
The bad juju awesome.
I want it to look. I want it to be as badass as it looks.
Because I'll tell you right now, I am a 0. The bad juju is currently a 0, and I want to rise up with that bad juju.
Become a hero.
That's right. No. We dropped the heroes, buddy.
Right.
It has some of the, and just the last bit is it has some of the lowest usages in PvE and PvP of any of the guns. PvP 2%. Story 6% of people using it. It's just ridiculous. It was almost a non-entity class, and
it's just
really
garbage.
It was really good to see. It was really good to see something happen to that, so we have some more variety.
Absolutely.
Well, like I said, it's going to be a good change, especially for those that like to level up different guns and go through the exotics and everything else. It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, you mentioned the hand cannons, Nolxero, and that is the next on the list. The hand cannons are obviously, they say here they're precision-minded for precision-minded players, which would make sense why I love them and I use them, right? I mean, they're for skilled players, that wanted to pace their shots, and right now, obviously the rounds hit like a truck. What they say, but some of them maybe shoot a little too fast for distance. So basically, what they're trying to do is lower it to where the close to medium range is fine, to pull really quickly, right, those shots. But one problem we see right now is even at distance with the thorn, you can have the thorn at really far distance and people just sitting back using it like a scout rifle, right, or a sniper rifle, and they're tearing people apart. And that's really not what that gun is targeted for, because they if you're sitting back with it, they're still saying it can be effective, but they want you to be paced. They want you to pace those shots and not, just pull the trigger as fast as you can, and you hit it, right? So they're obviously going to affect their range. The goal here for hand cannons is is for optimal at medium range. So they want it to be optimal at medium range, which makes sense. You don't want to be real up close, because there's a lot of shotguns, fusion rifles, things like that are really good up close. But it's a good medium range gun. The hand cannon is optimal when shots are paced. Becomes less effective when they're fired quickly, and then rewards agility when under fire, precision targeting, and snapshots. So,
unless you're the last word, and then you just own everything.
Yeah, last word is amazing.
The only answer.
Can I stroke Troy's ego for 2 seconds?
Oh boy,
this guy. Okay. This guy in the beta.
Yes, you can, by the way, in case they want to answer.
Thank you. This guy in the beta, and I've known this about Troy forever. He's what I've always said. I have to work for the talent I have in a shooter. Troy's a natural at it. And this guy in the beta was like, oh, hand cannons are awesome. Let me tell you, in the beta, everybody unanimously agreed that the hand cannons were garbage.
Yeah.
Because they were underpowered, and even Bungie said it. They updated it day one that they were better, And I think it's amazing that, because Troy's championed the hand cannon forever, and it's funny that they're in a great place right now, and it's just funny to me that even when they weren't, Troy was like, they're awesome.
It makes me so happy. I know we talked about Thorn, last week, and I absolutely love that gun to death, and I can't wait for 2v2s to come back so I can play with Pope when I don't have a Stein in my eye and own some kids and some 2v2s, which, just real quick, why don't they keep that open all the time? I don't understand these playlists, man. What is the problem with having 50 playlists? I mean, you have 12 million people, dude.
Right.
I mean, have as many playlists as you can. But anyways, not to get off track here, but the changes that they're going to be making to hand cannons are to reduce the effective range. The damage fall-off starts closer to the shooter and then follows up. Shots are less accurate at long range, and then slight reduction to initial accuracy. So they note here, this is unnoticeable at close to medium range, but underscores the range intentions when used from far away. So obviously, they're not gonna hurt my babies too much, but they're gonna affect them at long range, which is nice because I think sometimes I feel like I take too long to shoot them at long range.
Yeah.
To try to get that headshot try to have some precision, and I feel like some other people just pull them as fast as they can, and I do lose those battles every once in a while, and so I'm very curious to see how these take effect, and given with the pulse rifle changes. It's going to be really interesting because we were reading these changes one at a time, but when you put all these changes together, that's what's really going to change up how this fits.
There's going to be a significant number of people that are going to be speccing sniper rifles now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's what's awesome about all these changes is that for you to be a complete player, you should have one of each of these in your arsenal. And before you could get away with it, you could maybe have 2 different hand cannons, last word for close boards, Hawk Moon for far or Thorn. But now it's like, I might actually look at a pulse rifle for something like, I can't think of the name of that board. Blank.
The time?
No, the one that's on Earth, Rusted Lands. Rusted Lands. Like for that board, I'm always a Hawk Moon guy. But now I might want to pull out a pulse rifle. To deal with some of those long ranges if you're standing over by the water tower shooting up to where B is.
9.7% you want.
Which is as long as you're not pulling out your black hammer, I'm all right with that.
Oh, it's too slow in PvP. It's about the quality. When you pull out the black hammer, it's slow and it's
slow jams.
Yeah, baby. It's like Teddy Pendergrass. You know what I'm saying? That's what the black hammer's like. So.
All right, Brian. Well, before you get too carried away there with your black hammer, just tell me about the changes on the fusion rifles.
Oh, the changes to the fusion rifles are so welcomed. And even Bungie knows that these things are ridiculous. It says the fusion rifles are one of the most contentious weapons in the PvP arena right now. I don't even think you need to say any more than that. If you played any amount of PvP in the past 3 months, you know everybody's running
It's
around with a fusion
ridiculous.
rifle.
All you got to
It's
do is sit in the middle of the
ridiculous.
map with your headphones on,
Right.
turn up the volume, and just listen, and all you hear is.
But hey, didn't it start whenever Xur sold Plan C for the first time?
Yeah.
Isn't that when it started?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
It started when and then they give you the murmur.
Yeah.
Right when the expansion came out, and it was like at that point it was unstoppable.
It was basically people were not even worrying about what their primary was, and just equipping their fusion rifle the entire game.
And that's what it says. It says it's pretty easy to find and build a fusion rifle that can push the range limits and land one-hit kills or massive damage from far away. Furthermore, in the Crucible, it's not difficult to depend on a steady stream of special ammo.
This is the best part of this update.
Right. So
we've been screaming this forever.
We've been saying this. I don't even know how long we've been saying it, but there is so much special ammo. If you have the weapon equipped when you start the round, you already start with special ammo, and then it's there like 5 seconds later. So
and how many of these are on the map? You know what I mean? I mean,
goodness.
You're gonna catch two or three packages whatever way you run.
The only thing that I'm a little annoyed about, Brian,
Mhm.
and I'll let you finish here. But they focused all these changes on the guns.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like they needed to make the adjustment to the individual character and give each person a 4-minute cooldown on their secondary ammo.
Pickup.
Yeah,
the pickup.
But I thought I did
I
read
think
something about that.
I think that was the way we.
Oh no, I think it's just that you can get less ammo.
You can get less ammo and you start with less, right? You also are going to start
you
with
get
less.
less, start with less.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I didn't read that. So
I don't think it's on this one. I feel like it was on the weekly update right before this.
Okay.
It's on
okay,
the
so let's talk about
It's on
that.
the
'Cause
fusion
I'm
rifle.
excited now.
It is on the Fusion? Where is that?
Okay. Initial starting ammo is reduced across all ammo stats. This is changed primarily for the Crucible. Starting a Crucible match, you'll have less fusion rifle ammo, but
go ahead.
reserve. That's it.
So go ahead and give us the goals, Hambone, for the fusion rifles.
All right. So the goals of the Fusion rifles are that they are optimal at mid-range, where targets are easier to track, but they're not close enough to attack while you charge up. Also, the goal was to require combat foresight and the ability to predict a target's movement to use successfully, which I will give the Fusion rifle players. Some of those shots are pretty incredible to be the map awareness to know where you're going to pop out. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm just trying to. A lot of people like Fusion rifle.
There's
Don't
a
even
radar.
entertain
There's a
me.
motion tracker radar there.
That's what I'm saying. When they time it.
I would give you that if there wasn't a radar.
Right.
Well, the first change
That's
that
true.
they make to this is it actually kind of concerned me though.
It says the blast pattern on a Fusion rifle burst cone is a little wider.
What?
That just means that if you think of a shotgun, when you shoot a shotgun, there's a tight cone of fire, and the tighter the cone, the more damage it'll do.
Good, Troy.
So having a wider cone means less of the specific streams will hit you.
And see, the thing is, it shot a center cone.
Yeah.
It
well,
shot
not even a center cone. It was a straight line.
Right.
Yes.
No,
If you aim body shot,
wasn't a cone,
it
right.
goes straight up and ends at the head.
Yeah. So it's a one-shot kill immediately. So having the cone be wider is actually a good thing because the further you are away, the less chance they have to one-shot you. Also, close to medium range volleys are largely unaffected, but at a distance, the projectiles are less likely to. This is what we were just saying. Less likely to land hits on a single target. It's also going to reduce the reliability of landing a one-hit kill at far range and make the weapon better at spreading damage into a group. So it seems like they're changing it more from a PvP killer to a PvE machine. The wider cone, and that is going to definitely help you using it against, say, the raid during the Abyss part. So that's a good thing. Also, the big change, initial starting ammo is reduced across all ammo stats. This is the change that primarily affects the Crucible. That's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. It's good. It's a good change.
Yeah.
It's a very good change.
I think it steps in the right direction. I don't know that. We'll see. I don't know that this is where it needs to be, but it's definitely the right direction.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they understood that they also needed to change shotguns too.
Mhm.
So, Dave, why don't you cover the shotguns for us here?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, guys, I wanted to get your opinion just from the community perspective. I've had a lot of people ask me, what kind of guns, what do you guys use? What's your primary best favorite weapon?
For
Well,
for what?
as-
PvP or
For PvP. For PvP.
For PvP, well,
I
as
think that'd be-
Nolxero said, I love hand cannons,
Hand
and second in line is probably going to be, man, I don't know. I would say I probably use my Suros more if you look at the statistics.
Yeah.
But I really do. I know me and Pope are both very big scout rifle fans as well. So,
Okay.
when we had Vision of Confluence, we both used that. I think that was probably my primary when I had that weapon or when it was top of the line. But I didn't even have a Suros leveled all the way up until the expansion came out and we had to re-level, and I never even touched mine until I just went ahead and re-leveled it, and then it was the first gun that I got all the way up. But What about you, Pope? What are you using primarily?
I'd say if I'm going straight PvP, wanting to do my best, I'm gonna equip the last word in my primary, and I'm gonna equip a sniper rifle in my secondary, and then I'm gonna do a heavy machine gun in my heavy weapon slot. But the last word can easily be traded out with Thorn, and or the Hawk Moon. I enjoy all of those, but for my personal playstyle, I like the last word the best.
What about you, Hambone? What are you putting in there?
Oh man, since I got Hawk Moon, it has been my one and only.
Shut up.
It really has, man. Like
that's the one hand cannon I don't have, obviously.
I know, and
It's a
Troy,
delicious
you're
fruit.
so good at PvP that I'm afraid to see what'll happen if you get Hawk Moon.
It is a ridiculous gun, and I think that Troy would just become one with it.
Right.
If he had it, it would be so amazing.
Mm-hmm. And
Troy
my,
would just
He
we'd
sad.
have to nickname him Hawk Moon. He would
Right,
lose
he
too
would-
loud and
yeah.
become Hawk Moon.
He'd be Mr. Hot Moon.
Oh,
Yeah, because we know Miss
Easy.
Hawkman already, right?
easy over there. That's hilarious. No, in my special, I put on still Praedyths. I love Praedyths. I love 6 shots in my magazine. I wasn't lucky enough to get Ephrodite's Spear, but if I had that, I'd be using that sniper rifle. I've because of my disgust for the amount of times I died of fusion and shotgun, I really try to stay away from them unless I know I'm only going to operate mid-range and N. And then for my heavy weapon, this is an interesting because Pope likes the machine guns, but earlier in the game, I was all about rocket launchers. But if you get better at PvP, you can get so many kills with the machine gun. So
You
I've
can
now
literally
switched to
use
machine
a
gun.
heavy machine gun from one heavy ammo pickup to the
Right.
next heavy ammo.
So
Exactly.
I have one of my top 5 medals or awards earned in PvP is Machine Lord.
Oh, I
Right?
love
Yeah,
that.
I've
Yeah.
gotten that.
So yeah, if you're good at PvP or you're getting better and you can find yourself staying alive more, I would really suggest a nice slow rate of fire machine gun that you
Yeah.
can just murder folks.
Yeah, the Swarm.
Easiest way for me to get my that headshot spree.
Yeah.
The heavy machine gun to get the headshot spree
Mhm.
every time.
Corrective
Swarm-
measures is a great
Swarm
one for that.
corrective measures, but of the slow rate of
Zombie
fire,
apocalypse.
Zombie Apocalypse, Swarm, and the Iron Banner
Golden
heavy
Hammer.
machine gun, Yolner's Hammer, is absolutely freaking amazing.
That's my go-to. Phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, Nolxero? What are you placing in the primary and secondary?
So when we go to PvP, I run 4 guns in my primary slot. There's a 4 gun, and it just really depends on how I'm feeling about the map. So the 4 primaries are Confluence, Hawk Moon, Suros Regime, and the multi-tool. And then I primarily like to use Confluence so I can put Patience and Time in my secondary slot. If I'm not using Patience and Time, I go Found Verdict. And then I also go with heavy machine guns for my heavy. I've used rocket launchers, but I think rocket launchers is a cheap way to get 2 or 3 kills real
Mhm.
quick.
Mhm.
But like Hambone was saying, if you really
Hey, sometimes
learn,
I carry that Gallahorn, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I
Well,
carry that Gallahorn.
You know what?
the
Honestly,
Gallahorn is like sending a bee's nest to your enemies. because it literally explodes and then just swarms them.
Yeah.
Those wolf packs go everywhere, man.
No, but I
all
think,
over you.
I think that I'm kind of a comment that Hambo made earlier. I make a personal, and it's not out of some like I holier than thou. It's just, to me, it's personally, I do not want to use fusion rifles or shotguns. I just don't want to use them. I know I can, and I don't. I know they're easy kills, but I just don't want to use them. It's not the kind of game I want to play. And rocket launchers, I have a Truth rocket launcher that has tracking and proximity and blast radius rounds that are just insane.
Yeah.
Truth rocket launcher in PvP is by far the cheapest way to get 3 to 4 kills on a point. All you have to see is that a point is being taken, and you fire the rocket in a general direction. It will track, and in proximity to a target, it will detonate. It doesn't have to hit anything, and you will get 3 to 4 kills on every point when you shoot that sucker.
That's why, dude. That's why I'm so happy about pulse rifles. Is I'm like my play style is I like to keep my enemies at the medium range. I don't like close quarters. I don't even want to give you a chance with your shotgun. Don't bring that noise to me. I like to keep you at mid range and just smoke you from there.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right. Ain't nobody got time for that.
You're gonna learn today.
Yeah.
Team
PopeBear. Well, for me, in my secondary, obviously I've already discussed my primary, but in my secondary, I do actually carry a shotgun most of the time. And the reason why is I don't even use my secondary. Probably, 90% of the time I'm always on my primary. But the only time I pull up my shotgun is if I have those blink morons coming at me in a match.
Oh my gosh.
That's the only time. I mean,
Titan smash.
Yeah, I mean, especially if I'm playing on my Titan, dude, it's just it becomes silly because I will go shotgun crazy. I hate that game style, but if it's getting played against us and they want to play it that way, then that's how I counter it. I mean, I just don't play. I don't sit back and snipe in PvP. I like I said, if I'm using a secondary ult, it's just because I'm pulling out my shotgun around a corner or I run out of primary ammo and I got a bunch of people run up on me. And most of the time, if you look, I think all three of my characters, I always have corrective measure. I have 3 of them. Every character has one leveled up, and I just leave corrective measure on them for my primary. And occasionally, I'll go with a shotgun. If we're all running in a group, I like to have a variety, right? Because I like to know that, hey, I can run in here and drop a Gallahorn, and I know Pope's coming behind me because we both picked up the heavy, and he's gonna mow down anybody that Gallahorn didn't kill, and I might die Titan falling in there, but it's all gonna get cleaned up. We get the point back, but if we're not playing control, especially if you're not playing control, I don't ever equip the rocket launcher. I mean, there's no reason to. The reason why it's so good on control is because you kind of know a congested point of where a bunch of people are going to be.
3 people there.
So let's go ahead and have him finish out the changes that take place to the shotguns here.
Well, real quick, since nobody asked, I usually play with.
Oh no!
So you asked us
Dave.
For
what do you?
Well,
Dave, what about you, Dave? What do you usually use?
Were you a single child, Dave? Were you because I had brothers and sisters, and if you didn't get to the dinner table and get your elbow room, you didn't get a chance to eat. So
you had to hide food at our house. I'm the oldest of 4 brothers, so if Mom bought the one carton of snack cakes that was supposed to last you a week, you opened up and you hid it around the house.
This
podcast is a lot like that, Dave. You better get yourself at the table.
You better grab that Scar Crunch while we still have some left.
Right?
Oh no! I just got 2 hand cannons. Been using them, but I think this For the People or Up for Anything. I can't remember which one. They seem the same. But I do use a shotgun quite a bit because if you're going to get that close, you should get it.
Oh yeah.
What was that? What hand cannons were you using?
I just got the last word probably 2 weeks ago, and I just maxed it out like last week.
That's good.
So I really like that one. I just got Thorn. You guys kind of finally kicked me in the butt to get that bounty done because it's been sitting in my bank for like 2 months. So
you and I are gonna play, Dave. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get Crota on his knees for you, all right?
A rocket launcher man, or are you a heavy machine gun?
Yeah, I don't need a rocket launcher that tracks around corners and proximity explodes. A machine gun. So yeah, I know I like the machine gun a lot better. So
That's cool.
Anyway, so shotguns, real quick. Shotguns they're making them more what they really should be, close quarter weapons. So obviously the first few things they're going to do to make it close quarters is they're going to make it more close quarters. So they're putting a drop off on range, and then also with the fusion rifles, they're going to limit the special ammo by having you start with less, and then what else was there? Start with less.
And I think the biggest change is what they're doing for them to be used in PvE, right?
Yeah. So it'll say right now they're going to do double the damage in PvE, right? So twice as much damage in PvE, and then they're not going to nerf the ammo in PvE. And then there's another note here which I don't really understand that well is in PvE activities we persistently track your ammo.
Well, that just means that they're just explaining how you have ammo. That the change that they're going to make when you go into Crucible, which means less ammo in your on your shotgun, won't be affected in PvE because as soon as you sign on and in activities related to PvE, your ammo is tracked persistently through the worlds, and you won't lose ammo when you go to the tower or into a PvE map to another PvE map.
Yeah.
So you're not affected by the change in ammo in the Crucible.
So yeah,
Right.
I don't know if it's enough for me to start using shotguns in PvE though.
Right.
I
I
was
was just
gonna
about to
say,
say,
when-
who's using that?
When
Yeah,
this patch goes live,
Yeah.
I'd like to borrow from Guardian Radio Network, and I'd like to do a DoD podcast bounty of a team submitting a video to us taking Atheon down with the shotgun.
Yeah.
I won't even put it at Crota. We'll put it at Atheon.
Oh, they've
Taking
done it.
Atheon
They've
down
done
the
it
street.
they've done it without the patch. They've done it, and it's not. There's actually guys that put down a video of Atheon melee only. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Savvy just did a No Land Beyond and Shoddy only Volta Glass. So yeah, they got it done.
100%, 100% times 2 times the damage
Right.
of shotguns in PvE.
But I
I
mean, when are you using that? The only time I can honestly think that
Think
I've
about-
used the shotgun is those nights on the way to Fogoth. I pull out my Found Verdict and I hit
telling
him with that
I'm
Yeah.
telling you that the raid shotgun that does extra damage on knights,
sword breaker.
is just the sword breaker, is just gonna ruin knights in the raid.
Oh,
This is gonna be the gun, man. Imagine if you're going through the lanterns.
oh,
and
okay.
you got those 2 knights.
Will it be enough to
Boom.
walk away?
Boom.
Yeah.
Will it?
100% damage, dude. You're gonna nail that knight with the extra damage in 2 shots. You're gonna go kaboom, kaboom. He's gonna be down.
Yeah,
I
that's
swear.
true.
Will that be enough though to walk away from
Oh.
having a
Yes.
icebreaker?
For me, knowing. Oh yeah, well you switch your guns out, right? In the lantern phase, it's just gonna be the more appropriate gun for close quarters weapons.
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
telling you right now that you're gonna want to use a shotgun based off of what they're saying right here. You're gonna want to use a shotgun in PvE when you know there's gonna be a knight or a boss that is not a range boss. Like the main bosses, when you get close to them, they do that foot stomp and then you
Right.
die.
Right.
So that's kind of lame. But as far as the majority of the yellow or majors, the night majors, if you're
Yeah.
gonna do a level or nightfall that's gonna have them, and you've got an elemental damage shotgun,
Yeah.
holy smokes!
What about even the sword bearers in Crota's Inn?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You drop down in Crota's End with a shotgun and blast away the sword bearer if you're
Right.
running sword. See, that's one of the things that kind of bugged me because the last shot usually from me before I pick up the sword is from my rocket launcher, and
Right.
if you have one in the tube and you're using the sword, you use the same button R2 smash to kill Crota, right? And it's happened more times than not.
Oh, yep.
I'm equipping my rocket launcher just then I grab the sword. So when I go up to R2 smash Crota, and then on my last, I'm trying to get one more hit in,
gosh.
and then the sword disappears. and
Boom!
my
Oh
R2
my goodness.
Yeah,
I
that's
blow
happened
I blow
quite a few
myself
times.
up.
Right.
And that's
So-
when everybody in the raid says, Team Hambone.
Yeah.
Right? Hambone.
So,
you know, you speak about sniper rifles, rocket launchers, you know, scout rifles, machine guns. Obviously, these didn't have any changes, you know, and they said basically, you know, they don't see a lot of imbalance with them right now. You know, they'll probably look at them again once all these changes take places. But right now, you know, there's no need to mess with them. You know, they seem pretty balanced.
Sniper rifles are awesome, man. Because the one thing that I do want to note is in Battlefield, if you have a sniper rifle, you have to account for the distance and like put your reticle above the guy because there's bullet drag and fall. But in this game, when you put the reticle on their head, they die. So yeah, if you haven't used the sniper rifle, it's actually pretty sweet. It's 2 body shots and it's 1 shot for the head.
If you're curious, the best PvP Crucible sniper rifle is
Aphrodite Spear.
Second to that,
Praetus. Yeah.
So Aphrodite Spear is it's not around right now. So if you wanna go out, do the Vault of Glass, get the Praetus Revenge, and it is by far one of the best straight up Crucible, not Iron Banner because it's low damage, but just straight up Crucible PvP snipers. Rank that sucker up, and it's
6
got
bullets.
and no, the rate of fire and it's just straight on target. There's no
recoil,
no recoil, and the rate of fire is you just pop, pop, pop.
And it's not
some would ask, So some would ask, well, why nerf my favorite weapon, he says. Why not make all the other ones better and leave mine alone? And basically what he says is like, you know, the TTK, they don't want to mess with TTK, which is time to kill, right? So if they brought everybody's weapons up, you know, to Suros level, right, in distance, then it's like, okay, well, time to kill just went from, you know, an average of, you know, whatever seconds to, you know, to 5 seconds, from 5 seconds to 1 second,
right.
And it's
it
like
would be like Call
the
of Duty.
games.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be like a hardcore mode almost, right? So it's just like we can't do that, and obviously, you know, for people that you know, it's really cool information, right? Because they look at these type of things when they build this game, and they build a PvP match as well as you know, the time to kill actually comes into effect. They look at these different areas, not just how much damage a weapon is doing. So that's really cool.
This is by far I want to give kudos to the team that put this together and the time they spent on it, because by far of all the patch notes for weapons, I feel like this one is more on point than any other update for weapons in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, John Wisniewski. Well done.
And the team behind that.
I think his name would be pronounced Wisniewski.
I'm telling you, it's Wisniewski, man. John Wisniewski.
Wisniewski.
So.
Wisniewski.
Well, why don't we go ahead?
Keep saying it. Wisniewski.
It's almost like you're sneezing.
Right. Gesundheit.
You know what? I'm sure he doesn't appreciate.
Who says Gesundheit?
Making fun of his name.
I'm just making sure they got it.
Not everybody's got a name like yours, you know. That's just, you know,
so smooth
Harris?
like butter.
Yeah, so smooth like butter.
Well, speaking of weapons, you know, obviously, like I said, they didn't change rocket launchers or heavy weapons or anything like that. But let's get into our section where we talk about the exotic for the week and our new section called "I Want One."
Gimme, I need. Gimme, I need.
All right, so this week's weapon is the Gallahorn.
Oh, God.
Or as we were told, Brian, it is the Yallahorn.
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
It is. Yalla.
Horn.
Yeah, we get a correction, and I wish I could remember his name right off the bat here on Twitter.
Bushwookies.
Is it Bushwookies?
Yeah.
So, you know, he likes to send us the correction, you know, for pecan. You know, he sent us the correction for pecan and for the Yallahorn. So
his interpretation of pecan.
Correction.
Yeah. So, hey, well, Dave, what is it? Pecan or pecan?
Pecan. Who says pecan? Well, no, it's pecan pie.
Thank you.
No, it's not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, according to Bushwookie, it is pecan.
No.
But the yellow horn is the weapon this week, and obviously there's this is that sought after weapon right now. Everybody wants. It was Zer to bring it every week. As I've mentioned, many times, I got this on the second week of the game. It was my first exotic, and it came out of a rare.
I've actually broken 3 of these down.
Story. I've never heard this story before.
Yeah, I didn't think you had.
Gallahorn.
But Pope finally got his.
Yes.
Pope finally got his, and he obviously, like I said, he plays the raid a ton. Dave, do you have a yellow horn, Dave?
A Gajala horn?
Oh no, I got that once in college, and it.
You took the medication for it.
Don't live in a fraternity house.
Yeah, you get those things.
Well, so Pope, why don't you tell us a little about the statistics of a yellow horn, and or what Hambone refers to and said to Bushwookie, it will always be a galley. So about the galley,
Right.
and perhaps its importance, particularly to the end game right now, which is Crota's Inn.
So if there is beauty in destruction, why not also in its delivery?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
So there you go, Gallahorn, right? So what is it? It's solar damage. It's pure awesomeness. It's got tracking. So if you know what that, if it's a little different than the proximity. It will actually bend to your target, but the key to it is also to ADS on an enemy, and you'll hear a slight little dee-dee-dee. And as soon as you hear that, it's locked onto your target, and you release. But it's kind of not needed because it's an amazing, like a huge blast radius. It has Wolfpack rounds, which are rounds that are fired split into tracking clusters. So not only does it have an initial explosion, but it also has these tracking clusters that are like mini grenades, and they home back on the target and do a secondary set of explosions.
Yeah, it's like the swarm grenade for the hunter,
Just
like
in
it
case
tracks
you
you.
didn't
Yeah.
finish the job the first time.
So what makes this rocket launcher such a game changer for this game is that most rocket launchers will the enemy's shields. Like if you're going to use a rocket launcher, you're using it either by a group of enemy, but you're probably not going to waste it on a bunch of ads. You're going to wait until you're looking at a major or above or a boss, and all those characters have shields. And so this game, the shields on these guys absorb usually the majority of the initial damage points when a target is hit by them. So it will absorb the impact no matter how much the blast radius is or the power of any rocket launcher. If it will absorb, the shield will absorb the majority of that blast, leaving the health of the enemy for the most part untouched.
Mm-hmm.
What's amazing about the Gallahorn is then after that shield is off, the Wolfpack rounds coming back around and engaging with the enemy will kill it.
White hot heat, bro.
They just melt. And so why?
I wish they gave us how much damage each of those did, but
Right.
or how many there were. They don't tell you how many or the damage.
I'll tell you, a lot.
That's a very scientific way to discover it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So what when we start looking at this and comparing it against other rocket launchers of its class that are amazing, the Gallahorn has the least amount of aim assist. The truth being the most, right? You get the most generous lock on a target through truth. You can hip fire truth and it will home in on something, and that's what makes it an amazing PvP gun. The aim assist on the Gallahorn is not very high. It's one of the lower ones. But the attack being the same as all the other ones, the blast radius being one of the smallest, also means that all that attack power is focused on a smaller target, meaning that it is the rocket launcher for individual targets like bosses, instead of like Truth, which has the largest blast radius of any gun, which makes it again very powerful for PvP. So the only other guns of its class are the Hunger of Crota and One Way Ticket. Hunger of Crota also has cluster bombs, but they're not tracking. So
The clusters are like Hezens, right?
Right, they're like cousins. They fall to the ground around the target,
Right.
and they refer to them as cluster bombs. So rockets create cluster bombs when they detonate. So it is good for. I would say that the Hunger Crota is a really good gun for a PvE match where you're shooting at a boss or a major, and it has ads around them. That's an ideal use of the Hunger Crota. The Gallahorn is the pinnacle of a boss fight rocket launcher because of those Wolfpack rounds. I think what also makes it extremely valuable is its best-in-class velocity. When you fire that sucker, like if you're fighting a boss, your exposure, like a boss will be shooting a death ray at you, right? Your exposure behind cover can only be a second or two, right? So being able to pop out of cover and fire off a rocket, get that tracking, immediately tracking, fire off the rocket, and its velocity finding its way to that boss super quickly makes it also an extremely effective gun. So
just make sure it doesn't track on an ad that's right in front of your face, because I've done that several times where there's like a boss in the background and there's an ad right in front of me and it picks that one. Drives me nuts.
Speak of velocity, the first tier, like so, usually in these exotics you have 3 tiers. You have you have the first thing that it puts on, which is here it puts on the solar damage, right? And then it has the next tier, which is the 3 in a row. And the first 3 in a row, it has soft launch in it, confined launch, and then small drift control. So which one of those do you guys use? For me, I just leave it on soft launch. It's less recoil and penalty of velocity. It seems to. Right. Well, it seems to give a penalty to velocity more of a penalty with the other two. And then, so Pope, which one do you use in the first tier? Do you use soft launch as well?
No. So, I'm sorry. For the first tier, I can't honestly remember. I'm sorry. I have to look at my guy. Let me look at him.
Well, the reason why is I don't think any of these threes really make that big of a difference. But what really I'm really curious about is what you guys use in the second tier, which is it has quick draw, right, where you can basically the weapon can be drawn unbelievably fast. You have snapshot, which aiming this weapon is incredibly fast, and then you have the quicker reload speed, which will take reload speed almost all the way up.
That's what I do.
I actually use. Well, that's funny because I use snapshot. Aiming the weapon is incredibly fast, so that it targets quicker, and then then I'm done. And in effect, what I can do is shoot first, right? Like in our case, Brian, I would be able to shoot a little. I would be able to shoot a little quicker, and then go ahead and start my reload process.
Right.
Well, and I think this is also where you're looking at the perspective. Like it's also the use of the weapon, right? So I change up the perks on the damage tiers. On the 2 tiers, the first 2 trees, based on if I'm playing PvP or PvE. So the PvE setup is going to be soft launch because I really want to have that velocity, and I really don't care about stability as an issue. I want the fastest velocity possible, and I use speed reload. And the reason why that's super important to me in PvE is because I'm using this rocket launcher on Crota. And if you're in Crota, you've got a job to do, and your job is to take Crota's shields down. And you don't have time to mess around. When it's time to shoot those rockets, it's time to shoot those rockets. So reloading is extremely important in Crota's raid, and making sure that you have that rocket in the chamber ready to fire. So,
well, speak of Crota's raid real quick, and the last point I want to make about the Yallahorn or the galley is that you in your particular group, Pope, you kind of showed me how you run this raid, and you have 2 guys that actually go up to Crota. One drops a bubble, the other is the sword holder, right? And then you have the other 4 guys shooting Yallahorn or galley, but. In this instance, they can do that. Number one, because of the power of the Gallahorn. Is that not correct?
Yeah, and that's also when you look at a boss like, and Brian can talk about this too. When he's running a lot of the savvy crew through Crota right now, but when you look at the type of boss that Crota is, he is it's what's DPS, right, is really important, damage per second, because the type of boss is that if you don't have consistent damage on him, his shield will regenerate immediately.
Yeah.
And you can't stop it. Once it starts regenerating, it goes zip, all the way up. So it's really super important that you have consistent and full damage. You can either do it one of two ways. You can either use like heavy machine guns and push it down quickly and continuously shoot him down with lots of damage, small amounts of damage per second, or you can hit him all at once with a bunch of rockets that will destroy the entire shield all at once. And that's why this Galahorn combination is so powerful, because timing with your sword bearer is essential.
Which we found out last week, right? We found out really quickly. Pope jumps in a party with me, and it's like, man, something's going on with your raid. Okay, I think it's glitching a little bit, guys. We need to back out and go back to space and then go back in, right? So we go back to orbit. We go back in, and he's like, all right, we got it this time. We go, and he's like, wait a second. You guys aren't putting enough damage on this thing. What do y'all have? And we look like I'm the only person shooting a Galahorn. Everybody else is like, oh, I just have like a regular rocket launcher.
Yeah, and I'm used to in my raid crew, like when you say DPS Crota, you have to be careful when you say it because
it's immediate.
A second and a half later, the time it takes to travel the rocket from the player to Crota, he's down in seconds. Like in a 1.5 seconds, Crota has hit the floor. So you have to you need to be charging as the sword bearer. You need to be charging at Crota the second you say DPS Crota, because he's going down.
Oh yeah. If
it's
over.
Dude, in this instance, it was like he's standing there. We hit the rocket. Oh, reload, shoot another rocket. He's standing there.
Oh,
like,
Brian,
dude,
we tried
come
that.
On, man.
We tried that new strategy, where you get your Titans to drop bubbles prior to getting Crota to come out.
Right.
So you drop your bubbles on the platform.
The side spots where Crota moves to.
No. In the middle. Oh,
okay.
Right where Crota stands. You drop down a defender bubble, and you add up all these orbs on the sword bearer platform before you summon.
Oh, right? That's genius!
It's beautiful, man.
That's genius.
He goes down immediately. Like so, we're killing him before ogres, and sometimes we can even kill him on the first phase.
That's what I was going to say, because if you don't know, when you pick up the sword, you have the R2 smash, but then you can supercharge the sword and it lets out this big ground shock, and it's unbelievable. So basically Pope's group is now utilizing the Titan bubble, the Ward of Dawn, and dropping out orbs. Those bubbles themselves produce orbs, and then you can set them up to produce orbs every time they're hit. So there's just orbs for days.
And before you even summon Crota, you go out there and you take some time. You
awesome.
Just take some time and you develop all these orbs on that platform. And so then when you start the Crota raid, there's 20 orbs sitting on that platform there. So every time your sword bearer jumps up there, he's immediately supered. So he goes super to super to super.
Game over.
Wow.
Team PopeBear.
Team PopeBear.
Wow. Well, that's obviously a great strat. You're gonna have to put that on the YouTube so we can definitely check that out.
I'm gonna record it this week and I'll put it up there for sure. It's a fun thing, but these guys, not credit to me, and I wish I had their name written down right now, but they these group of guys put it out there, and I'll reference them in the video when I make it. And link it to their video, but I just give my hats off to them. That is a beautiful strategy, and it works wonderfully.
Well, Brian, let's go ahead and jump into stories from the tower.
And now it's time for stories from the tower. Stories that come from you, to us, and back to you. Be prepared to laugh a time, or 3, or 2.
Well, Hambone, why don't you go ahead and tell us some stories from the tower, maybe even some that came from DadsOfDestiny.net.
Well, this week we actually pulled them from our email. We actually had people send us email, which was awesome. Last week, as you know, we pulled DeepFriedDave story off of the DadsOfDestiny.net forums, and that was all about poo. So I got a lot of messages this week about poo. People telling me when they're pooing, how they're pooing.
Really?
So it was.
we got Twitter messages on, hey, I'm sending this to you,
as
I'm taking a poo.
As I'm taking a poo.
They sent us emails saying, "Hey, I'm writing this while I'm taking a poo." So
Yeah,
thanks everybody for letting us know when you're taking
my
a poo.
Twitter became the depository, or I don't know,
Right? Oh, that's awful.
of people telling me when they were pooing. It was a lot of fun. This week was a ton of fun.
Well,
So thank you, Dave, for that.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
And keeping with the theme of poo, I did get one about poo on Twitter that I have to share because it was out of control. This one is coming from J Ryan 1121, and he said, "Okay, I got a funny story. I just had an employee ask me to go home, and I said, 'What's wrong?' He said, 'It's kind of embarrassing,' and I said, 'Oh, okay.' He said, 'Look, boss, I snarted.' I said, 'What in the world is that?' He goes, 'I sneezed and pooped my pants.' So it took every ounce of my soul not to LOL at this guy in person. And I feel his pain. I had to be in like 6th grade and I had the flu real bad. And I was in science class like the second day of school. And I coughed and I actually had the shark go down where, so I feel this guy's pain, but at least I wasn't a full-grown adult. But at the time, hey, sometimes it just happens. A sneeze and a poop at the same time. You got to snoop. So I'm down.
Wow.
I have never had this problem. So I don't know where you're at.
You've never had that problem? Seriously?
I've never sneezed and crapped myself. No.
You've never like coughed and crapped your pants?
Not to my recollection.
I don't think so, bro. That you're alone. You're standing alone on this one.
I stand up for it. I was like 8, or I was in 6th grade. So whatever. However would you call it? 6th grade.
Brian, I'm with you on this one. I've been there.
Thank you. Thank you. At least somebody can be honest on this podcast. I mean,
I think
I am being honest. I don't have that problem.
I think I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in this podcast that can say they've taken a dump off the back of a bicycle, though.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you take.
All right, so.
Oh man,
while riding it down the street at 40 miles an hour.
That is awesome. All right, so we're gonna share some stuff from the DNet forums, DadsOfDestiny.net. If you're not over there sharing, please make sure you jump over there as we check this for some cool stories for the tower. And this one's coming from our own DeepFriedDave here, who says, you have a Destiny addiction when you have a dream where you found out a secret farming area that produced legendary engram in chests if you found them in a certain order. I checked my vault when I woke up, and yes, it was a dream. So I thought that was pretty good. You have a Destiny addiction when your wife asks you to take a break from your Destiny wives. They won't miss you that much. So yeah, I know you guys definitely know about that one, the second wife thing, for all of you guys over there who have to deal with that too loud. So
let's just make it clear. I don't have a second wife. Okay, I mean,
oh, you do have a second wife. It's me, baby. I also got a good email from Jason Graham, and this one is about his son in a hip-hop dance class. He says a while back, his wife and him signed their 11-year-old son, Isaac, up for a hip-hop dance class because his kid has got some moves. After sitting through the whole presentation, they had some ballerinas and things like that. But near the end of the show, after all of them got off stage, out comes the boys' hip-hop dance crew of about 10 kids. They did a couple of numbers, and then the dance routine came to a part where one at a time, each boy would step forward for a little freestyle session. This really got the crowd going with loud cheering. When it came to Isaac's turn, he stepped up and broke into his Destiny Awoken Guardian dance.
Nice!
That's there you go. Where the start is a hop in the air with the right leg kicking out. He totally nailed it, and the crowd went nuts. I'm telling you, it was a proud moment for this
That's
Destiny
awesome,
dance.
man.
Oh,
That's
awesome ever, man.
You probably are also playing too much Destiny
Right.
if your son is doing his
No.
Destiny dance.
No. What are you talking about? No.
Isaac knows what's up, but yeah, guys.
I want that video, dude. If that dad has that video, I want to put it up on YouTube. That is sick.
Yeah, give it to us. We'll put it on Tumblr and YouTube for sure.
So if you're
Well,
out there, Jason Graham, make sure you send us that video if you have it, because we would love to see that.
I want to see his son hitting the Woken dance.
Thanks to everybody who sent in emails. Some of you guys sent some that were a little longer that I couldn't share on air, but I really appreciate you guys continually sending stuff in. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we'll also throw some of those longer stories as well that we don't have time to share up on the DoD Podcast Tumblr as well. So definitely, go to the DoDpodcast.com and you can catch the link over there as well. Or you can go to DadsOfDestiny.net and grab the link to the DoD Podcast there as well, and you can find it. So keep sending your stories. Go over to DadsOfDestiny.net. Put up your own topic as well. We're always looking for them. And we definitely will get to as many as we can and read your funny stories as they come along. So, Nolxero, how about you go ahead and give us some feedback maybe that we got this week?
All right. Starting off, we got Jack Bennett, and I'm going to bring it up because he has an interesting post here about Xur and probability. It's really long, so I'm not actually going to read it here, but I'm going to put it on the Tumblr like you were just saying. It goes into all kinds of different probably just theory, but really just numbers of what they think Xur is going to have week to week and all that. So it's a cool little read. We got one from USMC Drummer. He brought up a couple points. He wanted to say that he was, looking forward to, like we've said a bunch of times, getting custom games into Destiny. He thinks that we're going to have to wait till Destiny 2. He was wondering what we thought about that. He also says he would love to see a Forge world or something to that effect in Destiny, and that he also made a comment about the stuff showing up on Reddit about House of Wolves having a May 19th release date, or at least that's what some Japanese post on Reddit said. Was, I guess, data mined or something, and he was saying he really hopes that it's not because it would be 6 months between DLCs. But unfortunately, this was before DJ's post, so unfortunately for you, USMC Drummer, it's going to be at least 5 months in April because that's what DJ said. So, yeah, April, May, or June. So,
yep.
What do y'all think about custom games, though, real quick, for USMC Drummer? Do we think there's any possibility we will see a custom games show up in the current Destiny?
Well, I think, as I said a couple weeks ago, I think it's some of these things are going to be too hard for them to put in now.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see it come. I mean, I'd love to see it, but I don't know if the infrastructure is even there for them to do it, and if it is, why they've waited so long to do it. So if it drops, I think it would be in something like the Comet, which we talked about a few weeks ago, which would be the huge release. This fall is what people were thinking. Around the same time that Destiny came out. So if it would have to be something really big, I think, like that, because obviously it's going to have to be quite a bit of information, to be carried and downloaded, to really create that. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Some of these things I don't think are going to get in. I don't know about you, Dave. I don't know if you think. What do you think, Dave? You think they're going to come anytime soon, or?
No, I mean, I'm still waiting just to something simple like lobbies and private matches and PvP. And I know it's probably not simple, but it's got to be a stepping stone to doing some other things like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's anytime soon. It seems like a pretty big challenge.
Yeah. Well, guys, continue to send your feedback to feedback.dod@gmail.com. And we really appreciate everybody's emails. Like I said, if we had the time to read everybody's, we would. And we definitely appreciate the feedback and the suggestions that we get as well. We definitely want to continue to evolve the show and cater to the things that you guys are looking for. So keep sending it over there. Real quick, I want to say thanks to all the official listeners that came on board. We are at 25 official listeners right now. And so keep bringing them in. We're actually going to do something special for the first 50. So if you guys will continue to support us, if you like the show, be an official listener. You can donate whatever you want, $1, 10 cents, $10, whatever you want. And the first 50 people, we're probably going to cap it at 50, and we're going to do something really special before we release our next step in this official listeners stage of our podcast. But this week we had Aldrin Wilkins, and we had Derek Sherman, Blaine Ernst, Andy Holman, and Anthony DeFale. So thanks so much, guys.
Thank you very much
for being official listeners. Thank you. We really do appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that has already supported us and is going to support us. we can't thank you guys enough for just listening and being ears to our crazy podcast that we do here every week.
Right. Also, I wanted to say we also made a small milestone on YouTube. Got 109 subscribers on YouTube. First little milestone. I know we've talked about we were going to do videos. Trust me, it wasn't that we didn't want to put videos up. We've been learning a lot of stuff. All of us have. So you're seeing videos go up. We're still learning. And we hit that first milestone. I just wanted to bring a little attention to that. So we thank those 109 subscribers on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been throwing in and doing some videos. You see, I put one up last weekend. You have Pope that's putting up a couple last week. Hambone putting up a couple last week. So definitely check in there and subscribe. We're gonna have more and more and more videos coming out. Videos with guests around the Destiny community and special things that you guys like to see. Right now, we're focusing a lot on the bounties and finishing those simple bounties the quickest ways that we know how, and showing you those tips and tricks.
There's some interesting competitions that Brian and I have coming up. We've been talking about it, and we're going to be doing some dual live streams that we'll be posting up as videos going forward.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, as always, thanks for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you rate us on iTunes. Make sure you check out DadsOfDestiny.net and check us out on YouTube and Twitch as well at / the DoD Podcast. Go to the DoDpodcast.com for direct links right there. Also, make sure you visit Guardian Radio Network for tons of other great news and podcasts. You have the Guardian Radio Show, TTL Party Chat, Warlock School, and Ghosts and Echoes. You can follow us on Twitter at the DoD Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at TwoLoudtx. Nolxero, NOLXERO, PopeBear, Pope_Bear, Hambone, HAMBODINI. Dave, how about you? You have a Twitter account, don't you, Dave?
Yeah, it's DeepFried_Dave.
All right, guys, don't forget, next week we're going to be doing the raid with Bungie. It's #Dads Week, and so we'll be doing the raid and the ride-along. Make sure you check into that. We also will have ponestar on next week as well, so tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thanks again for listening, guys, and until next time, see you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.
Take care, polar bear.
Keep it loose, mongoose.
Ooh, I like it. Keep it alive, beehive.
Oh, there we
Boom,
go.
what
Keep
you
it
think?
alive.
What you
Is that original? Is that original
Yeah,
there?
I thought of that one. I don't know if it was user submitted, but I tried to put the name down, but I'm pretty sure that was all me.